Welcome, welcome everybody to the CC Show with Sounds by DJ Seith. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning here. Oh, something's going on. Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right. Thank you once again for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning. This is the CC Show with Sounds by DJ Seith. My name is DJ Seith, and I'll be playing a little bit of music at the beginning here. Thank you so much for joining us. We have some special guests today, Courtney Wabigwan and Holly West. We're going to be talking about the work that PSWs are doing during quarantine, and I'm excited for this episode. So stick around. We'll be getting started real soon.
You can do You can be anyone if you're strong enough, if you're brave enough, if you believe in yourself. You can do anything. You can be anyone if you're strong enough, if you're brave enough, if you believe in yourself. Blow my nose on a bucket list.
Counterfeit money.
Deliver me the statues.
Counterfeit money.
Mirrors on the ceiling.
Counterfeit money.
Snow White and the 7 ladies of the night.
Counterfeit money.
Commissioned Renaissance portraits.
Counterfeit money.
This food has fucking gold in it.
Counterfeit money.
Random obelisk made of ivory.
Counterfeit money.
Tequila lay .925.
Counterfeit money.
You can do anything.
All right, once again, thank you guys so much for joining us today at the CC Show with Sounds by DJ Seith. My name is DJ Seith. Thank you very, very much for joining us here on the stream today. We have a very special episode lined up for everyone, and I'm super excited to present it with my co-host Cece. I'm going to bring everybody in right now. Just do that here. And get over to here. And there we go. All right, yeah. So once again, episode 2 of the CC Show featuring Sounds by DJ Seith. I'm going to take it over to my host CC here. And welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Needed to unmute. Ani, hi, good morning. Today is Saturday, July 11th, 2020. And yes, this is episode 2 of the CC Show featuring Sounds by DJ Seith. We have 2 very special guests here with us today. We have Holly West and Courtney Wabigwan here for our episode labeled Working in Quarantine, Personal Support Work. So personal support workers are so important to our community. So we wanted to have some time to highlight their work during this time. Before we get started, I do, of course, want to do a land acknowledgement. Ani Wabigwan Indishnakas, Makwadodam, coming from downtown Sault Ste. Marie. We're here in Bawating, which is the home of the Robinson-Huron Treaty. So it is the area under that treaty. There are Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, and all kinds of Indigenous folks who walk these lands and recognize them as home. This is also the home of Shingwak Residential School, or the former home of that school. So I just wanted to, of course, acknowledge the people, the land, and the truth, because those things are important to do. But without further ado, we'll kind of get started on our show today. As you know, I'm Cecilia, or Cece, from downtown Sault Ste. Marie. And this show is very important to me. I wanted to create a space that I could share with folks that was diverse and had voices that you're not always hearing, but that you need to hear, that are your neighbor and that we can identify with and have some important conversations. So I'm so honored to have DJ Seith by our side as our artistic director for the show. I couldn't do it without you, Seith. So I'll give you a moment to introduce yourself and we'll get our guests going.
Yeah, once again, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. My name is DJ Seith. I am 38 years old and been DJing for close to 20 years now. And yeah, I guess some of my favorite foods are pizza and burritos. And I know that's probably not good for me, but, you know, I'm trying one day at a time, right? I try to get the occasional salad in there, you know, when I can. Other than that, I'm super excited today to, you know, be able to get back into places like the Rad Zone and buying records and, you know, stuff like that. I had a really good week this week finding records. So I'm very thankful for that. And, yeah, I think that's all there is about me. So.
Awesome. Yeah, so without further ado, we have 2 very awesome women on our show today. We have Holly and Courtney. I will let, by luck of the draw, Holly introduce herself first. Hi, Holly. Who are you? What is your name? Where are you coming from? And what are you passionate about? Oh, I can unmute you. Yes, I can. Ask to unmute.
There we go. Okay. Hi, I'm Holly. I'm from the Sioux. I've lived here my whole life. In 2018, I graduated from the PSW course at the college, which subsequently was the year of the strike that happened at the college. So a little tough going, but there was quite a few of us who pushed through. I worked at Plania Algoma casually for the next year following, which is where PSWs go into the nursing homes in the Sioux, actually all across the Algoma district and Sudbury districts. And they basically help out the employees at the homes when they are short-staffed.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a good little way for us to help each other. And I recently decided that kind of wanted a bit of a change. So now I am employed by CBI Health Group. We do home care around the city, and it's been really rewarding. I enjoy it a lot.
Awesome. This is so cool. Thank you for sharing your passion with us, Holly. And I'm so excited and grateful for you coming on the show. It takes bravery. And without further ado, I will introduce our next guest, Courtney, and tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from, what kind of work you're doing, and what you're passionate about.
Ani, my name is Courtney. I'm from Thessalon First Nation. I currently reside here in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm working at the long-term care facility at the Davy home. Yeah.
Awesome. And you're a recent graduate too, right?
Yes. I've been there for almost a year.
Almost a year. Oh, wow. It seems like yesterday. Awesome.
Yeah.
So straight from, and did you both go straight from your programs right into the working field? Is that
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so that brings me to our next question. We're all in this kind of living history together during COVID-19. It's been months when it first happened. I know I was in shock and I thought, maybe if we all stay inside for a month, everything will be okay. It's been a little while now. I do work sometimes in the community frontline and sometimes from home. So I am a frontline worker at times. But how has quarantine affected your workplace and how you're working? And of course, without, exposing anything, I know you're both working with vulnerable people, so there's only so much you can say. But how has it changed your everyday work?
Well, I think for me, just speaking from the home care aspect, oh my God, my dog. I'm so sorry.
No, that's awesome.
Oh, Daisy, come on, go.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi, Daisy.
She's only 5 months, so.
She's just excited to be on, that's all.
Yeah. With home care, I find that the difference is, oh, Mom. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, the
That's
alarm's
okay.
going
That's okay.
off.
This is also actually the awesome thing about live is a lot of people are nervous to come on the show. They're like, oh, what if this happens?
Yeah.
What if my kids or the neighbor or smoke alarm or those sorts of things. But we're live and that's what makes it fun and that's what makes it real. So
Absolutely.
No
I
big
think
deal.
the most
Well, I
important
mean,
thing
at
too.
least we're being safe with an alarm system.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
one of our questions later.
Yeah.
Oh God, my life is so good.
Let's just bring Daisy on for the whole
Yeah, right?
stream.
Come on. Okay, so with home care, I find that the big difference is, number one, you're going from home to home, right? Long-term care, you're kind of in one space, and that doesn't necessarily make it safer, less safe. But it's just the routine aspect of it has changed. Masks are mandatory all the time, And it's just a bigger screening process. It has to be constant. You have to make sure that you're screening yourself as well as the people that you are taking care of, because you are putting yourself at risk, as well as the people that go into their home, as far as family members, things like that. So it really is just being a lot more aware, and just making sure that you're keeping yourself safe, because I find that unfortunately a lot of times people don't take this seriously, and with the elderly community, that's, from what we can tell, is who is most vulnerable. So that's definitely the biggest change, is just making sure that you're more aware and taking care of yourself and taking care of others.
Yeah, my grandma's also in a long-term care facility, so it's ladies and folks like yourselves that are taking care of her right now while I'm unable to visit her. You know, I'm building my career and my life, so I'm so grateful, you know, to long-term care workers, but also home care workers, so that folks who are able to stay home have that ability too. Court, did you have anything you wanted to say about just how it's changed work? Like, I know you've been there for about a year, you mentioned, post-grad. So has it, the first half of your work versus, the last few months since COVID hit changed?
Oh yeah, it's definitely been challenging. Like having to wear the face masks all the time, and it's very hot, and the residents, they're wondering why we have them on, and if they're, a lot of change for them, and they're scared. So we just have to reassure them that we're doing the best we can and they're safe, and just having to get tested once every 2 weeks, sorry. And for the residents and for myself, I know it's scary and it's difficult, and we're just trying to stick together and keep them safe as possible. And I know not being able to have their family come in and stuff, it's hard for anybody, but so just stuff like that has been challenging, but we're all trying to do the best we can.
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely all in this memory together. That's what I was going to ask too, is if like you had to get tested, or if either of you had been tested, or like if you just, if you feel like you've been exposed to someone, then like, of course you would, because you care about your people. But have you been tested? Holly, sorry.
I have not been tested yet, and it, from what I understand, is not mandatory through my job. I know at the long-term care homes it is. But that is not to say that it is not something that is definitely pushed, because again, it's just about being aware. If you feel as though you have symptoms, if you've been around anybody who has symptoms, anything like that, even a client that we have, if that's the whole point, is the screening process. If anything is even remotely a little off, then you need to just take the initiative yourself and be safe, get tested. My mom actually works for Algoma Public Health, so I am lucky in that sense that I get the updates that are being released to the public, and at home. And my boyfriend, who I live with, is working with the public as well a lot, so he has been tested. That was something that he just decided to do. So it's not mandatory at my job. I kind of wonder if it should be, but as long as you're being aware, and
I think also my job also was encouraging it, and I'm really scared. I
am too.
But if I felt like I had symptoms or any of the diverse effects, I would take that responsibility, because I wouldn't want to get anyone around me sick. So it's not mandatory, but it is encouraged at my work, and of course to self-isolate if you are having symptoms and get tested before returning to work, because it's important, right? Like you want to have accountability to the people you're taking care of. Like I know you know, they end up being, you care about your people, right, when you work in these fields. Yeah. How is COVID, like, okay, so we've talked a little bit about work and like how it's changed at work. How does that feel at home, either, you know, related to work or just home? How has COVID changed your home life?
Courtney, do you want to take this one? Do you want me to go first?
I can go first. For me, it's just making sure I keep safe and clean. I don't want to bring anything home. I help my sister raise my nephews, so I know when I get off work personally, I will take my clothes off at the door and put them in a bag and go have a shower. And then I'll change into different clothes, or sometimes I'll even change right at work, because just for me, I want to take the extra step in making sure I don't get anybody sick, or, you know, just being aware and staying healthy and clean as much as possible. And that's just, yeah, I don't know.
Me too. I feel like my hands are drying out from the hands, because I always wash my hands a lot, but now it's like hyper, right? Like, so I'm, you know, I have soaps and, you know, different soaps at each sink, and I've got foam hand sanitizer and the heavy duty one, and then the little ones, and like
Not to mention all the cleaning wipes that you use, you know, right? Just for all the surfaces and that. I'm using those.
Yeah, I've got like 10 times.
Yeah.
How's it for you, Holly?
Well, for me, I just, again, it's kind of the same. Just making sure that when you come home, you're changing your clothes, you're taking a shower. As far as routine, it's been a little bit different. You feel more secluded, I guess, especially for me working in home care. I just find that you're thinking about your clients, and you're just thinking about the general public, and you're not even, it's just so questionable as to whether or not you should even mix the two. Obviously you should be, you know, following the guidelines and making sure that you only have so many people around you, and, you know, that kind of thing. But it's still just constantly the unknown. And so you don't want to risk anything, and you definitely don't want to put your clients at risk. So I think for me, that's been the biggest change, is just constantly wondering if I'm doing something right, if I'm doing something wrong. Should I be here? Should I be wearing a mask? You know, which now I guess is mandatory starting next week, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. Like, am I doing the right or wrong thing, you know? And that balance between just like, you know, isolation and your mental health and your, you know, your humanity, and needing responsibility to family and friends around you in the community. And then also just that unknown, like, you know, is this lurking?
Yeah.
You know, and not wanting to contribute to that, or like that sense of guilt, like, oh, I went to the beach today, but like, was that like, you know, and I went to the beach a lot of times, so I don't know, maybe someone will scold me after watching this live, but was that bad? But I really needed that, you know, like I had a hard week, so I went to the beach, and I didn't go near anybody that I didn't know. But I was in the water, and other people were in the water. Like, you know, where do we draw that like balance between like work and life too, right? Because like working with people who might be vulnerable, but then also, you know, having responsibilities in the community. And but I think I would just want to echo what you both said too, is like, we don't know, but we're doing the best that we can, right? So when we're coming in the door, you guys are both changing right away, and, you know, washing up and washing your clothes, and making sure your family members are protected, and, you know, maintaining those distance, and like having your, I keep calling it my MySpace, because I'm always trying to bring back the 90s, but your My 5 or your 10, like, or, you know, whatever they say to have in your immediate folks that you hang out with or that you spend time with, right? So yeah, doing those things. And like, I find I'm cleaning out my car a lot too, like, so dirty. And I'm noticing.
I actually just got approved. I've had kind of a little beater for the last year and a half. And because of my job, I decided I need a new car. So brand new car from Honda coming soon.
What?
Yeah,
Upgrade, working women.
exactly.
How many
It's a work
years?
expense.
It is a work expense though.
It
Seriously,
is.
especially living in Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So-
How many years has it been? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, just kind of touching on the same topic that you were just touching on, CC, about self-care. What kind of self-care methods are you guys taking, if you wish to share that, to kind of like, kind of counterbalance all of these extra precautions and procedures that you find yourselves having to do in your work?
Oh, good point.
Well, I think for me, I've always kind of liked my bubble, to be honest. I'm very, not to say that isolation and everybody having to stay home hasn't been a change. But for me, I think it's almost like my self-care has had to be like kind of putting myself out there more, in the ways that I'm able to. So I've actually started, like my boyfriend's a gamer, so I've kind of tried to like get into that a little bit to keep my mind busy. And I mean, you can always do like the normal self-care things, like taking care of my nails or having a bath, or just keeping your mind right. But other than that, I find that keeping yourself busy as much as you can at home, and just being productive. Because if you don't feel productive, you don't feel as though you have a purpose. And if you don't feel as though you have a purpose, someone who does struggle with depression and anxiety, can make it so much worse, especially in these times. And I don't want to be depressed or anxious for my clients, because I may be the only person they see. So that's important to me, to be in good spirits for the people that I work for.
Absolutely.
Courtney?
Yeah, I just agree with her. Just making sure you take time for yourself and do things that you like, and just make sure you stay busy, because like she said, you can get really depressed, and I don't know, just make sure you take time for yourself. Pretty much that's just what I do, just try and balance it out.
Great.
Yeah, me too. Like, I mean, I work in the community and then from home. And, I could just work and then be at home and then, not do a whole lot in between, do these extra things, the TV shows and stuff. But if I didn't get out onto the land, or I didn't, create art when it comes to me, whether that's writing or painting, I wouldn't quite have the same livelihood. Like, it is really hard. It's a heavy world. And when you work with people, taking care of people, or you're an empath, even in your family or your community, like when you're a person that people come to, or an emotional person, it's really challenging during these times. So it's really important to just like let it go sometimes too. Like, this is a pilot episodes like of the CC show. So, and we're in this living memory. So we've had a lot of talk like these last couple episodes about quarantine, and then also just like current events. But sometimes it's good to just like let that go and like go and do whatever self-care is for you. And, things will be here when you come back later type deal.
I think a lot of people have like different ideas of what self-care is too. Like, I think it's always just kind of been put into this little box, and, for like, it's different for everybody. And I just don't really think that that's like, I think that's something that's not actually talked about very much, is that self-care is not the same for everyone. Doesn't mean that me sitting down, watching a chick flick is going to do the same for somebody who would feel more relaxed, like listening to some death metal, like it's always going to be different for everybody. So especially during these times, I think that it's hopefully been it's been an outlet for people to find that. But I know that sometimes it can be on the opposite end, which is harder because people don't know what to do. There's too much change. So,
Yeah, I think it's important to do your check-ins with people, and not just like you as in your responsibility to take it check-ins with other people, like you need to check on their well-being only, but also if you're feeling low or just maybe too bored or your mind's wandering too much or it's just a little dark. I think it's important to make sure to do remind yourself to check in with folks, because other folks are feeling really isolated too. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I was sad and nobody checked on me and stuff. So it's important to check in with people, because they would have, I'm sure there's so many people out of there that would love to listen if you're checking in, right, with folks. So when I say check in, I say for yourself and then also for others, for people you care on. Of course, check on them, but don't stay isolated is my advice to my friends. Reach out and come home has been the advice.
Yeah. Checking in is so essential. It's like it's kind of like I would say it's almost like a food group. You like you can't survive without eating and breathing, right? But you also can't really survive without checking in. I believe anyway, on some level, and I think that oftentimes it kind of gets overlooked, like the power of being able to just touch base with somebody and feel like you've made a connection with them, just to be able to share what it is that's going on in your life, or to listen to what's going on in their life, or even just to, catch up around maybe talking about a show that you both like or whatever, whatever it is, that's crucial.
So that kind of brings me to where this was kind of going, was kind of around like safety and community safety, and self-care is a really big part of that. What are some other ways that you see like kind of safety developing in our community, and do you think we're doing a good job, or do you think that we have room to grow? I can
guess.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead.
Well, I don't want to hold too much of the space. I just wanted to make sure I didn't put you guys on the spot. It wasn't on like the list of questions, but it just kind of
No, that's okay.
Like I did mention that we would talk about safety precautions, but we kind of like discussed that earlier. So I was thinking more so like now, and how our community is doing on it, and how that's like affecting you.
I mean, I can only go like based on what I've seen, because if I go anywhere, it's just the grocery store, basically. I think that's a lot of people. And it's just kind of, I think as far as employees, I mainly shop at Walmart. They do well. They, like, as far as like cleanliness and making sure that everybody's being safe, that's great. I do find that people that are out in the community, a lot of times they're either on one end of the spectrum or they're not. And this is just my experience. But there's people that are very, very cautious and that are wearing a mask and that are wearing a gloves. PSA, do not wear gloves because it's absolutely pointless. And then there's the people who, if you even come too close to them, they will get extremely upset, and because they're scared. If they're vulnerable, they want to. So, I encourage people to not have all of this fear, because it does nothing for you. Just be aware. So if you are following guidelines, if you are practicing social distancing, if you are wearing a mask, get in, get out. Don't be somewhere unnecessarily, in the community at least. That's really all I can say. But as far as places that I've been, that I've seen the employees and how they do their jobs, like they're doing well. The things that have been implemented are there for a reason, and no complaints on my end. I think everybody's doing the best that we can, and that's why Algoma has been successful in having such a low amount of cases.
I think there's always room to grow in anything, but I think that we're all doing the best that we can, and that the social distancing, I think that's a good thing. To only go into stores and get whatever you need and get out and wear your masks and just keep washing your hands. That's about it.
I went to the eye doctor the other day, and they had material masks, and they were there, clean ones, and basically everyone who entered had to wear the material mask, and as you left, you put it in like a dirty laundered bin. So I thought that was like quite accommodating, as far as like, you know, small town, and we're able to do that in our spaces. So I think we're really like lucky here in Algoma for that.
Oh yeah.
And then on a larger scale, I like how it's like sucked the recreation out of consumerism. Like, so like it's not fun to shop as much anymore. And I guess like that sucks for those who like retail therapy, which I do enjoy myself sometimes too. But just as far as like a new future where we're not all so obsessed with like buying the hottest new phone, or, you know, a new outfit every week just because we have to, or those sorts of things, and that we're actually like conscious about what we're going to go get at the grocery store, or if we go to Walmart for clothing or like household needs, we have an idea rather than like so much impulse purchasing. But then I'm not gonna lie, I've also went to Walmart for groceries and been like, well, I'm here and I waited in line, so I'm gonna go check out the whole rest of the store and buy stuff anyway. So
Yeah.
but I do like how in general it slowed it down.
Yeah.
Well, the online shopping has been insane from what I understand, that for the longest time. I mean, I still imagine it hasn't slowed down much, but you know, we're waiting like weeks upon weeks for things that we would normally get within a couple of days. And anytime that I would speak to anybody at Canada Post, they're like, it's worse than Christmas because everybody's buying online. So doesn't surprise me.
Definitely, yeah. And I think there's an added kind of endorphin release too when you get a package at your house, because that's something that's still, you know, I mean, like obviously, you know, mail delivery's been around since the beginning of time, right? But like, you know, when you get something that you ordered, as opposed to just getting, you know, the regular flyers or newspapers or whatever you normally get, bills, right? Those aren't really joy sparking for most people, but when you get a package at your door, that's definitely joy sparking, and that's added on to the joy that you get from, or that some people get rather, from you know, purchasing something new. So it's like an added bonus to that too, and then having waited for it, and you know, that extra pat on the back, like, hey, you waited, good job, and now you're getting this thing too, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess before when they were trying to shut down Canada Post, or like minimize it with all the cuts, I guess they really know how important our mail people are
Yeah, no kidding.
to our livelihood and economy.
Absolutely.
They'll be working for a while, for sure. I will say too, when this started happening and I was ordering online and something would come in, I was almost like, was still scared, almost like when you bring your groceries into the house, like you should like sanitize that package. We're like, where did this come from? Like, you know, this came like on a boat or a plane, like, and we're not doing boats or planes right now, right? So like, I wonder like if folks are considering that when they're ordering online with their packages. But
I definitely considered it on numerous occasions. I think one of the first things I ordered, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think it's called like Il Maquillage or something. It's one of those like foundations, that you take the quiz for. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever, I'll try it. So I bought it, and it came very fast. It was here within, I think, 3 or 4 days. But as soon as I looked at the package, it said it was from New York. And that was when everything was blowing up in New York. You heard it all over the news. Everything was chaos. And I'm like, okay. Just wiped it down immediately, threw the box out right away. Like, just being careful.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I just wanted to talk to you, I'd like to leave our conversations kind of positive. So we have a few moments here before we go into the music. I just wanted to pick your brains about any positive thoughts you have for the future for our community, whether that be in your workplace, at home, or in the community at large. If you could see one positive thing come from all of these changes, what would that be? And take a few minutes, because I totally put everyone on the spot today for this show. Had a crazy week. So thanks, everyone. Yeah. One positive thing in the community. Something I'll say, and I'll kind of just like hold that for a bit, that I want to see, or I'm hoping to see, is like more of a localized economy taking care of each other. So a lot of jobs weren't open during COVID, right? So as things like reopen, it's not going to look the same where everyone's working. So I would like to see like the businesses that are, employing and are, helping our community, or have been like keeping us kind of afloat during this time, whether it like be donations or whatnot, flourish as we come out of this, and maybe have a little bit less, I guess, like alienated work and more community-based work, I guess, whether that be in the business sector, social sector, the agriculture sector, like all across the board. Just hoping to be a little bit more community-minded rather than that old dollar bill.
I definitely second that that notion of community-minded, building and trying to see everybody maybe step up in a sense of, just trying to build something, not necessarily around, well, how much am I getting paid or compensated, but more, is it fulfilling me, socially and emotionally, and is it making better connections with everybody that is in the same community that I am, and kind of trying to break down barriers, I think, for a lot of people. I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see a return for the Neighborhood Resource Center, which for people that aren't in our community, the news was recently released that the Neighborhood Resource Center, which was a very crucial tool for a lot of people that were suffering downtown and trying to make ends meet, is no longer going to be opening its doors after post-quarantine. They just weren't able to keep it afloat. And there were a lot of reasons that kind of, brought that about. But I think it's definitely something positive, and taking from that, I think that we could really build something that would be even more sustainable and go from there and have everybody partner in on it and have it return.
That's a beautiful seed that you've planted there, Seith, and I'd like to help grow that. One thing I was thinking, just reflecting back on what Holly and Courtney did say to me, since I totally put them on the spot, is being able to see your residents see their families more. It's probably heartbreaking. They're probably lonely. And I'm lonely without my family that I can't see, so... that's
one thing I was hoping for too, to change. And right now I know we're letting families call in and make appointments, and they're able to go outside, and they still social distance, but they still get to see each other and talk in person, and it's a lot better than being on the phone, and it's a step, so it's good to see.
Absolutely. And then losing the masks.
All
day, okay.
Yeah.
I think for everybody, it's just more intimidating that way. I mean, I haven't found that any of my clients have been necessarily afraid, but they're just wondering what's going on. How cute.
Yeah, can you hear what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
I always feel like maybe people are not getting the right expression from me, or that I'm intimidating, like you were saying.
Well, exactly, because I had a client yesterday who I had not had before. And I remember she looks at me and she goes, "You look bored." I'm like, "You can't see my expression." You don't know.
You're only getting half the picture.
But yeah, exactly. I was like, Of course I'm not bored. But, yeah, it'll be nice when it's gone. And as far as like a positive note for me, like when it comes to the community, I mean, it's a little broad, I guess, but I hope one thing that like we collectively can decide during and after COVID is that people need to realize how valuable our retail workers are, and that I think a lot of times they're overlooked, and I think they continue to be. And if they weren't here to do our jobs, we wouldn't be able to get our supplies. We wouldn't be able to get our groceries. It's all about kindness, man. Like, it's all about having respect for the people who are there, whether, just because they may get paid less than you doesn't make them any less valuable. And I just really think that they need to be recognized. And that's not even like talking healthcare workers. That's talking about the people who get me what I need, So I really hope that changes. And yeah, just really the whole, just kindness to everybody. Just be aware. I know I've said that like a million times, but that's really what it comes down to, is just be aware. Like, when you have that awareness, whether it be how you're treating somebody or whether or not you are 6 feet from someone, just awareness in general of yourself and of other people.
Be kind and be aware. I like that.
I like
The
that
mantra. Yeah, I think we can kind of wrap up. If anyone has any final thoughts, I'm feeling so good about this conversation. I had a long week, pulled it together, just, dealing with so much in our own realms. So thank you to both of our special guests, Courtney Wabigwan and Holly West. And thank you again, of course, to DJ Seith, so important to our community, to the CC show, and to myself. So with that, are you queued up to play music?
Yeah, I'm just getting it ready right now.
Oh, awesome. Pamapi.
All right, thank you very much for queuing me up there. Once again, thank you everybody that tuned in today for the CC Show, Episode 2, PSWs during quarantine. Yes, once again, my name is DJ Seith. We will be back in 2 weeks for our next episode. So if you are interested in finding out when that's going to be and what it's going to be about, then you can join us on Facebook. Just search for The CC Show with Sounds by DJ Seith, or just The CC Show. We are also on twitch.tv at twitch.tv/ccandseith. And you can email us at ccandseith@gmail.com. And all of that's on the ticker bar at the bottom there. And yeah, let's get into some more music. This is Pyramid Scheme by Wabigwan out of Thunder Bay.
It's a pyramid scheme. 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 See myself when I look at you. I 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 see see myself when I look at you. I see myself when I look at you. See a person who's their own boss. I wanna help you quit your job and make up for the time you lost. What I'm offering is easy money and an easy road to more. What I'm offering is easy money and an easy road to more. What I'm offering is easy money. What I'm offering is easy money. What I'm offering, what I'm offering, what I'm offering is easy money and an easy road to more. Imagine you and all your friends reaping the rewards. We start you small and you keep growing till you. We start you small and you keep growing till you can go. We'll put you where you belong. Let's put you on Easy Street. It's a pyramid scheme. 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 Some people like Pepsi, some people like Coke. Some people win big dollars when they go for broke. Some say cash is king, I say money order's fine. Just make it out to me and you sign that dotted line. Why wait, get the merchandise, buy a way to the top floor. It's too good to not be true, it's even better when it's yours. What a happy accident that we should be. Let's put you where you belong. Let's put you on Easy Street.
Oh yeah.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Thanks once again for joining us.
It's a pyramid scheme.
We will be back in 2 weeks for another episode of the CC Show. My name is DJ Seith, and thank you for tuning in.
What you're hearing is a train leaving. What you're seeing is a closing door. What I'm offering is easy money and an easy road to more. Let's sign your friends up now and put you in the bossy seat. Let's put you where you belong. Let's put you on
Word up.